Here's a little thought about self-care. Hey y'all, happy Friday. Welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, September 30th. This is episode 135. As always, I thank you for watching and joining. If you're a first time watcher, if you're a return watcher, welcome back. Do me a favor before we get started. Go ahead and click like, and go ahead and click subscribe, and go ahead and click share. All of those things help me. And at the end of this message, if you enjoy what you hear, leave me a comment. Second thing I want to do is shout out all the October babies, myself included. Happy birthday to the October babies. October is coming. Tomorrow, October will be here, and the world will be a happier, more joyful, more beautiful place. So, today I want to talk self-care. We've talked about self-care before, but I specifically want to talk about self-care in the form of advocating for yourself. Advocating for yourself. What does that mean? Being your biggest cheerleader, standing up for yourself, saying no when you need to say no, saying yes when you need to say yes, and putting yourself and your needs first. And I know that sounds selfish, and selfish is almost like a four-letter word, but self-care is for you, and advocating for yourself is for you. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time I truly advocated for myself? When was the last time I thought to myself, what is being asked of me is something that will take me away from caring for myself? What is being asked of me is something that will cause me to stretch myself beyond my limit, to my limit or beyond my limit. Ask yourself those questions. When was the last time you advocated for yourself? When was the last time you said, no, I cannot do this. Respectfully, I decline. So many people, so many of us in so many situations are afraid to advocate for ourselves. We are afraid to say no. We are afraid to stand up for ourselves. We are afraid to decline because we are fearful that if we decline, this person won't like me anymore. These people won't like me anymore. They'll think I'm being disrespectful. They'll think I'm full of myself. They will think all of these things. And so rather than doing what we need to do for ourselves to care for ourselves, we do what the other person wants us to do. And it's not necessarily that we're being asked to do something that is horrible, that is illegal, that is unethical, that is just a horrific thing to do. But we could be being asked to do something that causes us to go back on a promise that we made for ourselves. We could be being asked to do something that causes us to, like I said before, stretch ourselves to or beyond our limit. Maybe we're being asked to do something that causes us to not live according to our values. Maybe we're being asked to do something that causes us to go back on a promise we made ourselves. Or maybe we're just being asked to do something that we just plain don't want to do. Sometimes it's just that simple. I don't want to do this. This is not something that I want to do, and so therefore I'm not going to do it. You are not required to do everything that is asked of you. You are not required to fulfill every request that is made of you rather. You're not required. And it's all in, not all, but a lot of it is in the way we decline. Because if you decline assuming that the other person is going to assume the worst of you, then you may not decline because you're assuming that someone is going to have a negative idea about you or a bad opinion of you. And so we don't decline. We're afraid of what others are going to think of us. Sometimes it's in the way you decline. Sometimes if you decline by saying, you know what, out of a desire to care for myself, I have to decline. Out of a desire to care for myself, I have to say no. Out of a desire to care for myself, I have to say yes. And you may not agree, but I'm caring for myself in this moment. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Advocating for yourself is a form of self care. And anyone who respects self care and respects you will respect your decision. That doesn't mean they'll like your decision, that doesn't mean they'll agree with your decision. But like and agreement are not necessary for respect. So I want to ask you today, when was the last time you cared for yourself by advocating for yourself? When was the last time you respectfully declined? When was the last time you said, no, I'll pass, to care for yourself? That's the question that I have for you today. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. Advocating for yourself is a form of self love, a form of self care. And I think many of us could probably afford to do it more often than we do. So that's my question for you today. That's my challenge for you this week. That's my thought for this episode of Fearless Fridays. As always, the euphoria of fearlessness trumps the comfort of staying safe. Don't forget to journey bolder, and part of that boldness is advocating for yourself. I'll talk to y'all next week. Bye bye.